Let's go.
What up?
So first of all, we're going to start out. We kind of
friend?
rushed Omar last week. We're going to let him start out with the NHL playoffs and Major League Baseball topics from Omar, the sports professor. And then you guys can have follow-up questions, Ken and Jake, and for the sports professor. Go ahead. Take it away, sports professor.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you, Flo. Thank you for allowing me a non-abbreviated, non-rushed portion of the NHL and MLB updates. But in the NHL, the second round is already halfway through, and we are seeing that points are definitely not at a premium because they are scoring goals like none other. Dallas is up 3-1 over Colorado. It is not looking good for them, especially because reports came out just earlier today that their star player, and I'm going to probably butcher this name, so I do apologize, but let me look at my notes here. The star player's name is Valery Nitschkin. I think I don't know where he's from, but Valery Nitschkin. He's actually going to be suspended for at least 6 months. He's being put in the he's from somewhere in Europe, obviously, but he's their star player in Colorado, one of their best players, and he's going to be suspended for at least 6 months. There are no reports yet, but what he has been put in is akin to a rehabilitation. So usually with drugs, alcohol, things of that nature. So we don't know exactly what's come out yet, but he's suspended for the rest of the series and part of next year, which is a huge blow to them. They're already down 3-1 to the Stars. Dallas Stars are going to finish them out. Florida is up 3-1 over Boston. Okay. This would be horrible for Boston because this would be 3 years in a row with an early playoff exit. Last year, they were the President Cup trophy winner by having the most points in the East and then got bounced early, and to get bounced again, even though Florida is the favorite, still doesn't look good, but Florida's going to close them out. The Rangers, they were up 3-0 and now have let Carolina climb back in with 2 games. Carolina scored 4 goals in 15 minutes of play in the third quarter the other day to win the game. They are now down 3-2. They are playing right now, so we'll see what happens there if the Rangers can hold them off. And finally, Vancouver Canucks are up 2-1 over Edmonton. And here in this series, Edmonton is going to their backup goalie today to try to bring a spark because their other goalie, their starter, gave up 4 goals last game, and so they want to try to bring in a spark. So they're going to the backup tonight. Don't think it's going to make a difference. I think Vancouver does pull that series out as well. Moving on to baseball.
Hold on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Anybody have any NHL questions? I know, Jake, you dabble in the NHL. I know, Ken, you probably lost totally, but
all I have is the favorites. Apparently, are the Dallas Stars. Are you still?
So you gonna insult?
As it's
really?
Vegas has the Dallas Stars favored to win. My whole thing is, I think nobody can beat the Rangers when they're the hottest team. When they're hot, nobody can beat the Rangers. But do you think that the Dallas Stars, everybody's saying that's the favorite around here in Texas, but I think that's because I'm near Dallas.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it's because you're near Dallas, but they are one of the top 2 favorites. The favorites right now are Dallas and Florida for the NHL Stanley Cup. So those are who everybody is predicting that's going to get there, and I think that's what's going to happen. Yes, the Rangers have a great team, but letting Carolina come back and win the past 2 games is just forcing their series to go longer, and they look like they're the Knicks.
With their food,
they look like both of those New York teams, yeah, and they're running out of gas, I believe, as well. So I see Dallas and Florida for the Stanley Cup.
Oh, man.
Dallas and Florida.
Come on, Rangers.
So Omar, as a novice to the NHL arena, is there, like other sports, their upsets are a little more likely or less likely depending, on what round of the playoffs you're in. But for the NHL, is it pretty much the favorites kind of get in? Has there been any precedence for upsets, like a lower seed getting in that's not expected to go all the way?
Yeah, I mean, so there's a funny trend that you kind of asked at now. So obviously we can't see this in football, right? Because it's one and you're done. In basketball, we usually don't see it because we know the favorites are usually the ones that win, and upsets are few and far between in the NBA.
Right.
So, and we know that baseball, they happen all the time with the wild cards having won a lot of series the past few years, and with the champion usually not being the best team, as we saw the past few years with the Mariners having the best record one year, the Astros having the best record one year, and these other teams to end up not winning the whole thing. But in the NHL, the trend used to be like the NBA, where top teams would usually take care of business. But now, lately, in the past few years, there have been a lot more upsets. There's a lot more parity among the league because the stars are more spread out. So I think that there are more abilities for upsets. But that being said, if you look at the actual seeds that are left, there are no 6, 7, or 8 seeds left in the NHL playoffs.
Yeah, I was seeing those 1, 2, and I think number 3 seed in there somewhere. Who's that's not would be considered the favorite? Like you said, what was it? You said it's going to be Florida and Dallas. Is that what you said?
Florida and Dallas. Yes.
Okay. Who would be one of the teams that could upset that apple cart and kind of slip in? And who would be a team that would? Which team do you think it could possibly, slip in as opposed to the favorites?
Yeah, I would actually go with what the hot take Jake's had, the aforementioned New York Rangers. I think that if they can get by Carolina, especially if they can close them out tonight and not have to play another game and have a few days of rest before they face off with the Florida Panthers, I believe they can upset the Florida Panthers.
Okay, good. All right, Omar with the NHL playoff update. Let's go to Major League Baseball. Go ahead, Omar.
Yeah, so baseball, oh man. Since last week, remember last week we talked about the Orioles going ahead of the Yankees. Well, they played neck and neck all week long, and now they are tied up for first in the AL East. So, hot take, Jake, your Yankees are hanging in there. My MLB insider, Mike Wiebe, his Orioles are still looking very, very promising. That being said, if you remember a few weeks ago, we talked about how the AL East was the only division that had all teams above 500 or above. That has now switched as the Blue Jays have fallen below 500. The AL Central is now, now has 4 teams above 500. So not all 5, but they are the top division right now, with the Guardians and Twins still looking very, very strong. And the Royals hanging in there pretty well also.
They're kind of
your Rangers. Yeah, no, they are. They are. No, you're good. They're definitely a surprise team, the Royals. They haven't been good since 2015 when they won the World Series. They beat my Mets that year, and they haven't been good since then, but they are on the come up now. Bobby Witt Jr. is their superstar player. He is living up to the new contract he signed in the offseason. Your Rangers, Evan Carter, their star rookie from last year that led them in the playoffs, is hurt with a bad back. You might not want to clap that. He's out with a bad back, and he's going to go see a specialist, so it's not looking good. And the Rangers have lost 4. And the Rangers have lost 4 in a row to let the Mariners go a game above them in the AL West. So they're still in there, and the Astros are still stinking up the joint. So the Rangers still have a good chance if they can right the ship. Moving on to the NL. The Phillies have moved ahead of Cairns Braves by 2 games. The Phillies are on a hot streak led by Bryce Harper. They are 8-2 in their last 10 games to move 2 games above the Braves. And then in the NL West, as we talked about last week with Shohei and Mookie Betts leading the Dodgers, they are also lengthening their lead over the Padres as they went 8-2 in their last 10, just like the Phillies, and now have opened up a 6.5 game lead over the second place Padres. So that's where we're at right now. The other hot news in baseball, the ex-interpreter Ippei Mitsuhara for Shohei Ohtani had pled not guilty today to bank and tax fraud. But that is just a formality, as he has already negotiated a plea deal with federal prosecutors. We do not know what the deal is yet, but apparently a deal is in place for his, however long he's going to spend in jail, however much he's going to have to pay back, all that stuff.
That's crazy, man. That's insane, man.
Anything you guys got for Omar in the realm of baseball? Go ahead.
No, what I'll caveat on is Omar is absolutely right, man. The Braves have kind of fallen by the wayside, but I think the Braves will bounce back. I mean, it's still early in the baseball season.
Yeah, it's still early.
I think baseball season, the guys really get into the groove after the All-Star game. That's when you see the guys, play their best baseball and become the best. And so even with the Shohei Ohtani thing, man, it's crazy. The guy should do time in prison, but hey, man, special privileges for certain people. I'll just say that. Special privileges for certain people.
I have to say, I assume that he's going to do at least, at least 5 to 10 in jail, and have to pay back some money to Ohtani. But he could obviously get off with some good. Yeah, he could obviously get off with time in that he's already spent and restitution and other things of the sorts. But yeah, he deserves to go to jail for a long time. And if I were Shohei, I would make sure that happened. That being said, mentioning the All-Star break, hot take Garrett Cole is out pitching again in the bullpen. He's having bullpen sessions. He's looking to be back right after the All-Star break, so that's looking good for you. The other big news I forgot to mention, MLB has now agreed to a multi-year deal with Roku to start broadcasting Sunday morning and day games. So be ready for Sunday all-day baseball.
Wow. Interesting. You got anything for him, Jake?
Look, I already see what the AL is shaping up. I think the favorites there is going to be the Yankees. Here's my question for you in the NL. Are we about to see a collision course between, and I want to see this so bad in the playoffs, the Dodgers versus the Phillies? You have two high-power teams going head-to-head. This is a collision course I want to see. I think the Braves are trash. I don't think the other teams are going to even be nowhere near these two teams. Are these the favorite two to make it to the World Series out of the NL?
At this point in time, I can't tell you no. I have said all year long that the Braves were the favorites, but they've dealt with a lot of injuries. Max Fried, their best pitcher, has been injured. Spencer Strider has been out since the beginning of the year. He's their second best pitcher. Ronald Acuna, Matt Olson, their bats are not playing. They're all hitting under 300. They're all not playing as to their level. But what that precludes to is what Can is saying. They have time to come back and be better. So I'm not at all counting the Braves out. That being said, it seems like the Phillies are the team of destiny, as they've been so close the past couple years. And the Dodgers, they've just bought their way there at this point. I mean, there's nothing.
Could we see the Phillies and Rangers rematch?
Phillies, New York. Yeah. I can't wait.
I doubt it. Phillies, New York. I doubt it.
We can see Phillies, Rangers. We can see Philly, New York. We can see Philly and the Orioles. We can see the Dodgers and the Orioles. Those will probably be your main matchups right now. But again, everything can change as the season goes on. But those are your top teams right now. And Clubber D asked about his White Sox. Man, hey, we're doing a lot better than they were a few weeks ago when they only have 4 wins. They have tripled their wins. They are now at 12 wins. They're still 13 and a half games behind. They have no chance of the playoffs. But
hey, it's better.
Than they were.
No playoffs.
Yeah, hey,
no playoffs.
One quick question before Can goes. I was going to say, Omar, as we look at this, it seems to me that the Chicago Cubs are a little bit of a surprise team in second place in the Central. Is there a team that you're looking at that's kind of been a bit of a surprise this season, doing way better or much better than people may have thought?
I mean, if I really wanted to answer that question for the non-baseball fans, I would say the Orioles, because most baseball fans probably never heard of them since they sucked for so many years, and they're now such a good young team. Man, they got so many good young stars. They're going to be good as long as they stay healthy for a long time.
Well, they were kind of a year ahead last year, right? I mean, so I kind of felt like they would be good this year. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're right. They were a year ahead last year. We said that for sure. But I'm going to go to your aforementioned Royals. The Royals and the Twins would probably be my 2 picks for surprise teams that were figured to be around 500 but are playing a lot better.
Okay, good. All right, Ken, you got anything else for the sports presser in the Major League Baseball realm?
Nah, man. Like I said, man, as I caveated earlier, man, we're waiting on the All-Star break. And like I said, man, the Braves going to shake back. A lot of teams that are hampering injuries and going through what they're going through, they're going to bounce back. and the tables will turn in the baseball world. That's what I believe.
Okay, who do you think will make the biggest turnaround, Cam? If you're looking at this, let's say they're a mid-tier team. Let's just say like the Boston Red Sox, who are kind of 500. What team do you think is going to make the biggest turnaround besides your Braves?
To be honest, man, the team that I like the most, but I don't think they're gonna be power. I like the Toronto Blue Jays, but they're at the bottom, man. They're at the bottom of the AL East. If I look at the National League, bro,
bottom, but actually almost a 500 team. So, do you think they can make a run at this?
But then if you look at the National League, man, the Cubs.
Anybody? Okay.
The Cubs may bounce back and jump in front of the Brewers in the National League Central.
The Cubbies. Well, I mean, you think the Cubbies will?
The Dodgers are going to kill the West.
I don't know if that's a turnaround, team. They're in second place right now, but
what I'm saying is,
well, I mean, because you mentioned there was a long season and things could flip. Well, I'll just maybe a sub 500 team that you think can make a turnaround and really make a run at the playoffs.
The Cubs are 571.
I mean, they're in the playoffs right now, but okay, that's your answer. That's
your answer. I think they'll turn
it. I actually like the Blue Jays pick. I think the Blue Jays pick is a great pick that Ken had. That's probably who I would say right
with
now.
His first answer, right?
I'm telling you.
But I mean, hey, but the Cubs don't put the Cubs out. They got Shoto Umaga, who's the rookie pitcher from Japan. He's going to be the rookie of the year. He's pitching better than the Dodgers pitcher that they paid $325 million for, Yamamoto. So don't count the Cubs out.
I'm a Rangers fan, so I'm always kind of looking and eyeballing the West there, in the AL West. So, do you feel like? Hold on. Do you feel like, Omar, like Houston has kind of been struggling all year? They're 16-25. Do you think they can still make a turnaround? Because they were kind of the favorites last year, and I figured that they were kind of one of the top teams to win. I mean, do you think they can make a turnaround, or they kind of are who they are right now? For the Astros,
if there was one team that at the beginning of the year everybody would have bet on to definitely be in the playoffs, it was the Houston Astros. If there's one team that can turn it around, it would be the Houston Astros, right? We cannot count a team out that has gone. I mean, they've been in the playoffs the past 7 years in a row, and they've won 2 World Series.
That's what I'm saying.
We cannot count them out no matter what. They're only 9 games below 500. They're only 6.5 back. It is a long series. The Mariners and the Rangers but the Rangers and Mariners by no stretch of the imagination are powerful teams that are going to outrun them. Right. So if the Astros can right the ship, and again, they have players just like the Braves playing below their value. Yordan Alvarez, Jose Altuve, Bregman, all of them are playing a little bit below their usual levels. If they can step it up, the Astros do have a chance to turn it around. Is it going to happen? I don't know. It's going to be very hard, but could it happen?
But you're not counting them out, basically.
I'm not counting them out.
Okay, that's fair.